I want to start off with thanking you, Feather, for offering the tobacco to me for today to just say a few words about myself, and then I'd like to tell a story. And you mentioned that I would be doing that. And the story that I'm going to be doing, and I understand it's for World Indigenous Relations. And the story that I've chosen to speak about is about the eagle. So I have a couple things. I want to start with the teaching first, and then I'll go into my story. And so my name's Cecile Callio, and I'm a shot from Fort McKay here, First Nation, and welcome you here to our reserve, beautiful reserve. And this is the school, first year of our school here. And I work part-time, just two and a half days a week at the school. And I enjoy being with the students and the teachers here. And we have a lot of cultural programs, land-based programs that we're doing here. And so because of that, I'm really proud to be part of this. I really believe in culture. And I've lived in Fort McKay now for, I think, about 8 years. I came here for 1 year from Calgary and ended up staying, my late husband and I. And so I'm still here. And they're pretty good to the elders out here. And I'm related to a lot of people through the Schott family. And my mother, Lena, is the oldest person here on the reserve. She's 92 years old. And so I'm happy that I still have her in my life. I'm really fortunate. And to do the kind of work that I'm doing. So today, I guess I could get started, and we already started with the smudge here. And I'd like to speak about the eagle and what it represents. Because I think a lot of times you see symbolisms or representation about the eagles and the thunderbirds and how is all that connected? We always feel like, it's a spiritual entity that is with our tradition, but there's a reason for it. There's teachings that go with it. And I think in our hearts, people just recognize that that's what it is, but we're not really aware of all that it represents. So like you mentioned earlier to me, we have had an oral tradition in the past, and that's what I'm going to do today. And this second story that I'm going to tell about the eagle who thought it was a chicken comes from an elder in a story that's called The Way of the Pipe. So that's all I know. And that's kind of the reference. And I heard this story a long time ago. And it really resonated with me because I ran group homes for Aboriginal youth and in Calgary, and then I owned and operated one in Cochrane. And so I also had a lot of foster youth living with me, with us, my husband and our family, and that we took in, and I ran a supportive independent living program that we had a contract for. So I've done that for 30 years. And so with the youth that we had, we really, we were asked to have a cultural program. So we did a lot with our youth. We had a sweat lodge in our backyard, and we really got them involved. And I learned through the resources that were around in Treaty 7 area. And so they're beautiful. It's really about our healing, teaching ways and gaining understanding about who we are and healing. So I'm just going to put this down a bit. So that's why I have this eagle feather with me. I brought this, and the eagle feather this is a teacher right here. It's not just people, that are in the school that are teachers. I mean, we're all teachers. But something like this that one might think is not alive or inanimate can be a teacher. So the teachings with this eagle feather is like down here, I have some eagle feathers that are a lot of plume, the soft plume, and that represents the beginning of our life when we're small. So in time we grow and age like this, and I think I'm probably maybe here, somewhere here on that, and then we grow and we become older and older, and it's like a cycle. We come back, so we come up here and we need more help again. Assistance in our lives. So also one side of this eagle feather, like all these little hairs, represent correction. And we make mistakes in life. In our humanness, we're not perfect. And so we go along, but we learn by making mistakes is okay, as long as we learn by them. And, they say, we go along, and not to say we go out and we've got all this time to make mistakes, but we have a form of correction when we make mistakes. And we can offer tobacco for the mistakes that we make. We offer it up to Creator, the grandfathers and grandmothers, and our Mother Earth. And we can leave it out there. We can put it in the water, in the river, out by a tree somewhere, and we let that go, because it's not good to carry a whole lot of shame and guilt in our life and all that baggage that comes with it. So that's about all on one side of the stem, is correction, making correction and through the mistakes that we make. The other side of the eagle feather here, of the stem, is the choices that we've been given in life. And so we've been given numerous choices. At a certain age in life, our parents are responsible for us and they make our choices. But then we start growing, and at some point in life, we make our own choices. And I work with the students and I talk to them. They have here an eagle feather or a feather day where they award certain students like a feather that they make, and it might be for kindness. And so they have different kind of awards with the eagle feather. It's okay. And so I go around and I speak to them about the teachings of the eagle feather. So when I talk to them about choices, I said, you students, young people, all made the choice to be here today. You got up in the morning, that was a choice that you made to come to school. You're getting older, you make the choices what you're going to wear, to brush your teeth, to do your own hygiene, to walk to school or catch a bus or whatever it takes to get to school and come here. You make the choice to listen to your teacher in class, to make friends, to get involved in sports, to figure out what you want to do in life. And a lot of the things that you learn can help you to do that. So we have lots of choices to make in life as we grow. And that's up to you. And at some point, you're going to be on your own. And, life is going to be all your choices. And a lot of times we make the wrong choices. And again, we learn by them over here. So then in the center, the stem of the eagle feather is that is our path. That's our healing path. Some people call it our spiritual path, the way of the pipe, the sweetgrass path. There's numerous different names, but it's all about healing. So traditionally and historically, we have had, and we still do today, our own traditional spiritual healing ways. And they're beautiful. And a lot of our people are going back to it, whether it's sharing circles, whether it's pipe ceremony, naming ceremonies. There's so many of them. Our prayer songs, there's a lot of teachings. So we're fortunate that we have these ways, and we're just picking them up, and it's up to people if they want to do that. And we don't impose our ways on other people. There's a lot of non-Native people that are coming to our ways. And we invite, and we're open to all people. And we don't exclude or tell people, oh, you can't come. At least for me, I know I do. And I run the grandmother full moon ceremony. And a lot of different people from different areas, different places come, and it's really beautiful. So that's the eagle feather. And that's what it tells us, and that's what we can learn from this. The eagle feather is also, if you're given one, it's an honor. So my late husband and I were given an eagle feather from the University of Calgary for the work that we did in the community. And they beaded the bottom, and it was beautiful that we were honored with the eagle feather. And that's one of the highest honors that you can be given by your community, by the people that are there. So it was the university, it was our community of people that came in our family. So that's the eagle feather. And so I wanted to start with those teachings because also when we take our tobacco, there's a belief system when we take our tobacco and we offer it up. There's a process in the way that it works. This is not just tobacco. When you offer it up, it has life. And we smudge it and it's passed on. So like you gave me the tobacco and asked me to do some teachings and storytelling. So that request is in this tobacco and I've accepted it. So how it works when we take our tobacco and we offer it up and we say our spiritual given name, and my spiritual given name is Dancing on the Water Loon Woman. And I was given that through ceremony, through the Medewan Lodge ceremony in Saskatchewan. So what I was taught is the spirit of this tobacco is taken up by the grandfathers and grandmother spirits to the eagles. And then it's taken up to the grandfather, grandmother thunderbirds, and then to Creator, and then back down again to the thunderbirds, to the grandfather, grandmother eagles. And those enrichments, those prayers come back as enrichments for the people, for the prayers that you requested. So that's how that works. And so the eagle is looked at as like a scapios, like helper to the Creator to take our prayers up high. So that's what it symbolizes. It represents the spirit of the eagle and the work that it does. So we have a lot of eagle feathers, like this is eagle fan, and they're beautiful. And, when you look at, and this is just a small part of the fan, and you think about, the power and the eagle. And I have an eagle song that I sing, and I'm a sun dancer. I sun danced for, I don't know, close to 30 years, a lot of years. And you do a fast and while you're dancing down in South Dakota. And then I danced in Merritt, BC. So we carry our eagle fan with us. And there's all kinds of things that happen out there with the eagle feathers, the fan. We have sometimes in the center an eagle dancer, and they have 2 fans. And they dance that way, and it's really incredible. But so, you travel around and you learn different things. There's a lot of diversity amongst tribal peoples. And even from here in Treaty 8, from here to Saddle Lake, I'm sure even on our each reserve, there's a lot of diversity. And our people traveled and we learned things. We borrowed things from other people on what we learn. And so it's really beautiful. And my husband and I followed this way, and our children. And so a lot of times people gave us things too, because they knew, we would get a buffalo skull, or somebody'd go, I found this buffalo skull and I was thinking about you and I want to give it to you. I got a whole loon because they knew that my name, spiritual given name, has a loon in it. And the loon represents love. So I couldn't have got a better name. I'm so fortunate. And the songs come from the loon. You can offer tobacco and berries down or whatever to the spirit of the loon and ask for the songs. And they'll come. You keep searching for things and you're looking for things and it'll come. So, so spiritual, like things happen all the time, and there's an excitement about it. You might want to tell somebody and you get excited because you experience this, or you see the eagles. When we got married in our backyard, there was 4 eagles circling around, and we had a very traditional marriage. And, and everybody's looking, up and saying, oh, there's eagles, or the Sundance, there's eagles. I set up our teepee and we brought the honor pole home first. And my granddaughter said, Kokum, look, there's eagle. There's an eagle there, So, and my husband's name was Eagle Light Shiner. So, she said, Musham is here. He's watching, he's with us. So, there's so many things that are beautiful about our ceremonies. So, anyways, I'm really fortunate that, these kind of things have come. And, it's up to anybody to go out and find those teachers to help you. So, I'm going to tell a story. And like I mentioned, the story, all I know is it came from a reference from the way of the pipe. When you're a sun dancer, you might be presented a pipe, a sacred pipe. And there's teachings that come with the pipe. And then the pipe gets woken up through ceremony. A lot of things can get woken up in ceremony, and that it takes on a life of its own. Might even be a drum. So anyways, we carry our pipe throughout the 4 days at the Sundance. And my grandson was passed down his Musham's pipe. So even though he's only 5 years old, he already has a pipe waiting for him. And my son will give him the teachings because he is a sun dancer also. So he can pass on. Both my sons have a pipe and carry a pipe. So anyways, so the story, is called, and I mentioned this to you, the eagle who thought he was a chicken, thought it was a chicken. So the story goes where one day, some time ago, there was an eagle flying high in the sky, and all of a sudden something happened, and there was a big loud noise, and it was a shotgun sound, and the eagle came tumbling down out of the sky and fell onto the ground and laid there for a while wounded and couldn't move. And so what ended up happening, this old farmer from a nearby reserve was driving his old truck, GMC truck, down the road, and he saw something in the ditch and kind of moving around a bit. And he was looking, wondering what that was. So he pulled over and he got out and he saw this eagle, and it was wounded. And he could see that the wing was broke on this eagle. And so he decided he would take this eagle home. He took the eagle home and he mended its wing. But when he took the eagle, it fought. It didn't want to be picked up by a human. It was scared, and it tried fighting him off the best he could. But the farmer ended up taking it home, and he mended the wing on this eagle. And so anyways, as time went on, he decided he would put this eagle in the chicken coop. He thought he can keep it in there with the rest of the chickens. So that's what he did. So the chicken was in the chicken coop, and in time he watched how the other chickens did things. And he saw how they ate. So they were pecking at the ground. So he thought, this is how we eat, so that's how I'm going to eat. And he saw how they slept, if they perched or that. So he thought, that's how I'm going to sleep. And he saw how they bobbed their heads, and that's how I'm going to be, because here I am with the chickens. So, and then, his wings started healing, and he started going through kind of like a change and starting to forget a lot about who he was, who it was, and started becoming more like the chickens. I mean, he his environment was all chickens, and that's what he got to know. So, in time, there was, it ended up that there was a native guy from a nearby reserve, and he was walking up the road. He was just going out for a walk, and it was a beautiful hot day. And so he saw this farm, and he thought, I'm going to stop in and see if I can get something to drink, some water. So he knocked on the door at this farmer's house, and the farmer came out, and he got him a drink of water. And while he was waiting for the farmer to come back with his water, he looked over at the chicken coop. And when he looked over there, he saw something a little bit different, and he's kind of thinking, what is that? And he saw that it was an eagle. So what is an eagle doing in the chicken coop? So the farmer came out, and he gave him his water, and he said, I have a question. I noticed I was looking at your chicken coop, and there's an eagle in there. And the farmer said, yes, I picked him up. I found him in a ditch. He was wounded and helpless, and I thought I'll take him home, and I mended his wing, and he fought me off and, didn't want to come, and he was determined he was going to help the eagle. So he said, I put him in the chicken coop with the chickens, because that's the closest. They have feathers, so put the eagle in there with them. So he said, so the native fella says, well, he said, can I take him? He said, the eagle for our people represents courage It represents hope. It represents freedom, how it flies, you know, in the air high up with its wings. It has vision, you know, our leadership. We want our leadership to have vision like the eagle. The eagle is also works as like a helper to the spirit world. That's what it represents. It is really important for our people. In what it symbolizes. He said, "Can I take the eagle?" And he said, "Sure, you can have the eagle." He said, "You know, the eagle can leave any time. I mended its wing. It's healed up. It's been here. There's nothing stopping it from flying. But he doesn't seem to want to go. So he's become docile. He's become like the rest of the chickens, and he just doesn't seem to want to go. So, yeah, it's one less, you know, chicken that I need to feed." So the native guy, he's thanking the farmer, and he takes the eagle, and he starts to talk with the eagle and telling him things over and over. And he said to the eagle, he's told him what he represents. You represent hope. You represent courage. The eagle is like majestic. It's so beautiful, and it flies high. And that's who you are. And the eagle didn't really understand what this fellow was talking about. So he said, what I'm going to do is I'm taking you with me, and I'm going to take you to a cliff. And like you can fly. So he took the eagle with him, and he spoke to the eagle over and over and over, and offered tobacco. And he took the eagle and in his hands, and he, over the cliff, he let it go. And he told him, "You can fly. You're an eagle. You can fly high. You go." So he took the eagle, and the eagle fell, and it fell down, 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 down to the ground. And so the Indian fellow went down off the cliff and way down the paths and picked up the eagle. And this happened over and over. He'd take the eagle and tell him, "You know, you're beautiful. You have such power because you can fly, you can see far." And he kept telling him and encouraging him and talking about identity, because he felt like the eagle didn't know who he was anymore. So he was there to try and help him. So finally he took the eagle, and he took it and he threw it up over the cliff, and all of a sudden it came to the eagle. He started to flap his wings a little bit, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. Next thing you knew, he was way up in the sky, and he had such a feeling, and all these things were coming back to him that he remembered flying high and looking down at the trees and the forest and the nests, and there was other eagles, and all of a sudden he knew again who he was. And a lot of it was due to the help of others, other people, that could bring him back to his own identity, his own culture. Because culture is all about identity. It's about who you are. So really, like when you talk about, the moral of the story, and the point really is on this story is about, in order to know who you are and what you represent. And it's important. And a lot of our people, when you look at our history, we had so much. People knew they had the skills they had of the land. They had the knowledge of the land at one time. Well, a lot of our people still do. And around here, we still have trappers and hunters, and people pick berries. And our school here is doing a lot of land-based training and things with the students to bring them back, to teach them. We have cultural programs. So a lot of things have happened to our people where we ended up we were wounded, whether it was through residential school, whether it was through colonization. We went through a process of assimilation. We went through racism. We didn't like who we were, but we became subdued. We became wounded, and then we ended up healing in such a way that all of a sudden we didn't know our spiritual, traditional ways and beliefs and values and ways of doing things anymore. We lost a lot of that. And so, with the help of other people, our own people and non-Native people, because we have a lot of support out there of people that want to help and understand what happened historically in the past. And this story with the eagle is one. So a lot of our people too, like my leaders and chiefs and that, they wear a bonnet, an eagle bonnet, and to say that you're a leader. And hopefully our leaders have vision that they can see far. They can see into the future where they want to take our people. We set goals. We work towards helping our community to have good values and beliefs and help them to understand where we're going today. So really, there's so much with the spirit of the eagle and what it represents in regards to identity and cultural identity. Because even if you ask people today, well, what is culture? I worked in Cochrane with the schools, and I was the cultural connector. And when I was interviewing for the job, I said to the person interviewing, I said, what is culture? When you want an Aboriginal cultural connector, what is culture to you? And he goes, I don't know, you're here to define that. I go, oh, okay. So, I mean, you look at Canada, culture is like hockey, you think about things like that. But in our way, we have so much that is there and it's so beautiful. But people are scared now. They're scared to go back because of racism, because of being oppressed, because of so many tragedies that have happened in the world. And we don't need to be. There's change now they're talking about. There's so much out there we're trying to create awareness for, and especially our children. And I really believe our children are going to lead the way. I mean, they're going to take it up and they're learning, they're understanding. It seems like, at one time it was the elders that were the teachers. They had the oral teachings and they would sit and they would talk to the youth, to the young ones. And now I feel like it's a lot of those youth, that are picking up the eagle feather and learning the ways. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I just want to say thank you for inviting me to speak. Aho.